Okay. All right, here's the chat. What is this? We touch on. Okay. Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I'm gonna wait to start to let people jump on in. Okay. Now, this is actually my third live. I don't know why I'm never comfortable doing lives. I gotta do lives more often because I just don't like going live. But it's time to move out of my comfort zone, okay? So I am going to get started. This is my, I shouldn't say love letter to Matthew, but this is more of a celebration live, okay? I decided to do this live because I just recently started my podcast, Grieve, Grow, and Glow with Sherry. And on that podcast, I am speaking about my experience with grief, more specifically with losing my fiance unexpectedly. Okay. I decided to share my story online because I want my subscribers and anyone that is on this podcast to feel comfortable, right? Because it is not easy sharing details of losing a loved one. It has been 18 years for me, so I'm comfortable with sharing, right? Actually, it's part of my healing to talk about it. In the beginning, it was hard to talk about it. Not because I didn't want to, but because, and I'll get more into it, after a while, you start talking about it, you kind of, people are just like, you get that vibe that they don't want to hear it, right? So you kind of go mute and and this is for me. I don't know about anybody else's experience, but this has been my experience where I went mute after a while and just started dealing with the grief on my own, right? So I wanted to do a celebration because today is it's been 18 years since he's been gone, and just talk about, I'm just going to give snippets of how we met and all that because there are 3 videos on the channel that you can go and view to see my story, right? I did it in episodes. They're like 15 minutes a piece, and I did it specifically at that time limit because I didn't want to overwhelm people, right? I wanted you to really digest the video. And so they're 15 minutes each, and we are on video 4, I believe. Yeah, I think I did one yesterday. We're on video 4. So today is just a celebration. Today's video is basically acceptance, right? I talked about in the video yesterday about there's 5 stages of grief, right? And so I'm going to talk about the final stage of grief, which is acceptance. So I see a couple of people are on. Welcome, welcome to my channel. This is your girl Sherry, and this is a celebration, not a mourning of Matthew. 18 years later, we're not mourning him, we are celebrating him, okay? And I want to be able to touch upon my story, tell how my journey has led me to the acceptance stage, and how I deal with accepting the loss currently, right? So I'll talk a little bit about Matthew. I met him back in 2006. It was a relationship that is hard to explain. It was something that I have never experienced, put it that way. We mesh from not the first time we met. You have to go back to the first video to see. But once we actually re-met each other, like I think it was a month later after the initial meeting, we met and we were inseparable. Matthew was a family guy. He loved family. He loved my family, my friends. Um, we just was two peas in a pod, okay? We talked every single day. I mean, this man called me 5, 6 times a day. Now, let me put a little disclaimer in it, right? I am not one that likes somebody to be calling me all that time because I'd be like, okay, you a little clingy. But it was something about Matthew that did not bother me. And if I didn't get 5 calls in a day, I was in my feelings. So I knew in the beginning that this was the man for me, right? So we dated for about a year before the events that took place happened. We were planning our wedding and everything. Then, he passed away. And then the mourning began, right? And I believe, and I'm going to start this off first, I believe that it took me this long, which I'm in 18 years now, 14 years of true mourning. And that is because I didn't have closure, okay? When you lose someone, you're able to go to the funeral to say goodbye, and then that's when the mourning starts or the grieving starts. For me, I didn't have that. There was a lot of tension before he passed with his daughter's mom who didn't know me. There was a lot of, what did he have in his bank account? All those things that you should not be arguing about when someone's passing. And so I had a lot of death threats. I had harassing phone calls. And so at the time, my parents just thought that it would be best that I didn't go to the funeral because he was buried in Philadelphia. So I was not able to say goodbye. I did my own personal memorial for him that family and friends came to, and it was beautiful. But I didn't get to say goodbye. I, to this day, do not know where he's buried. I know he's buried somewhere in Philadelphia, but I don't know where. So I believe that's why it's taken me so long to get to the acceptance, right? Just sitting there like, oh my God, that was taken away from, first of all, he was taken away from me unexpectedly. And then to not be able to go to his funeral and say goodbye is a lot for somebody to handle, right? So I know that everyone deals with grief differently. In my journey, it was something that I've never experienced before. I've lost before. I've lost my biological father. I've lost my grandmother. I've lost 2 grandfathers. And this one hit different, right? I believe when you have more of an intimate relationship with someone, it's just different. It's just a different loss, right? And so when I lost him, I was in the mourning stage. I was in the depression stage. I had so much rage in me. And you can go back to video 4. I believe that's the video I talked about the rage. I was living in Rhode Island at the time. I had my 2 sons, but everywhere I went was a reminder. And I know people experience that, right, with grief. If you're with someone intimately or whatever, every place, everything reminds you of that person. And it was hard, right? It's hard because waking up in the morning, just, remembering our times together, it's like everything was a reminder of him. His clothes that was still in the home, any place that I went, to the mall, even to work, because I'm missing those phone calls, right? 5 times a day. So it was hard in the beginning because I'm like, this is my new normal. How do I go on without him? And so I decided, well, before I met Matthew, my plans was to move to the Virginia area. And then I met Matthew, and then it was like, okay, I don't need to move. So I revisited that again. I'm like, every place I go is a reminder, I don't want to live here anymore. I need to get away. So that's one of the things that was helpful for me, was to move out of the state. And I moved to Virginia. Now, granted, just because you move to another area doesn't mean, you're not going to grieve. You're just grieving in a different location. And I came to the state with no family. At the time, I had a best friend and a girlfriend that lived here. Um, that was the only people that I knew, right? And so they were my support system in the beginning. However, as time went on, and as the grief went on, because your grief goes up and down, right? There's times where you're okay. There's times where just the littlest thing can snap you. Like, I can have a good day, and then one thing could bring me back to that day. So my life was like this. It was a roller coaster. And granted, I know when you're in that state and you're around people, they don't know how to act, right? They don't know how to deal with you. And some people will stay away. Some people, when you're talking to them or you start talking about your grief or missing that person, body language, you can tell that they don't really want to hear what you got to say. And so I dealt with that to the point where I started recognizing that, and it was like, you know what, there's no need for me to talk about it. I'll just deal with it by myself. And I believe that prolonged me getting to the acceptance, dealing with it by myself, because I didn't have the tools to know how to get out of it, because grief made me mean. I ain't even gonna lie, I was mean. I was already dealing with things prior to Matthew, but once I got into this grief stage, I was mean. I was territorial, meaning the friends that I had, I didn't want new friends. Just those friends, because I trusted them. I didn't want anyone coming into that circle because I just didn't trust people. And they didn't do nothing to me. But after losing Matthew, like I said in video 4 that you can go back to, I'll touch upon a little bit, I was angry with God. So my trust, people, God, it just went out the door. But I finally came back. God was with me. He brought me back. But I still didn't trust people. Um, Eventually, with me moving to Virginia, I had to get to a point where I had to slowly let people in, right? Because I'm in a state with my two friends that have their own life. They couldn't always be around me. I had to open that door and start meeting people. And I tell you, that was the best thing ever. So for someone that is really grieving and you're just kind of isolating, it's not healthy. I can tell you, it's just not healthy. I think if I would have let people in a lot sooner, went to grief share counseling a lot sooner, I don't think I would have went through 14 years of that grieving process. I think I would have been at the acceptance period a lot earlier. So, anyway, I started letting people in. I started building connections with people. I started going out. And when you do those things, you're suppressing your grief, right? Because you're either going to work, you're going out with your friends, you're going to all these different places. I was going out to the bar, drinking, dancing, making friends, having just a good time. So my mind was always busy. And I never wanted to be alone, because when I was alone, that's when I went back to the grief, right? And so every month, every year in the month of May was my meltdown, because he passed on May 26th, but his birthday was May 28th. So I had 2 days to grieve. And let me tell you, it was hard. I grieved. I grieved. I was always thinking about, our wedding song, our wedding day. I was celebrating him in my own way, making the favorite foods that he liked, and just closing myself off to everyone in that month. Like in May, I don't want to be bothered with anybody. And it wasn't healthy. I know that now, didn't know that back then. But I got through it, right? 14 years of that. 14 years of isolating myself. 14 years of having the anger. 14 years of why? Right? You ain't supposed to question God. But that was one of why? Why me? What did I do? Right? So the first I think it was 3 years before I decided that I was ready to get back out there, whatever that means. And I remember at the time, my old best friend had said to me, if you want to get back out there, you got to take that ring off. Woo, child, I thought she hit me in my heart. When she said that, was like, huh? She was like, nah, you are getting ready to, you want to get back out there dating. You are in Virginia, D.C. area. These men are not going to talk to you with that ring on your finger. So it's time for you, if you really, truly want to move on, you have to take that ring off your finger. But I did. It was hard, but I did. I put it in my jewelry box. I still have it to this day, but I don't go in that jewelry box, but it's there. So I was ready to get back out there, and honestly, I am the type that I don't like to date. I've never been a dater. I've been the person that meets someone and we're together, right? So I'm like, oh God, I got a date. But a friend of mine, I had a really good friend back in Rhode Island that actually, he's the one, him and a couple other good friend of mine drove me here, moved me here. And he was like, look, you done been through so much. He was like, don't rush to get back out there. And he's like, let's go be a hoe. I was like, what? What do you mean be a hoe? That ain't me. He's like, no, I'm not saying like that. He was like, don't lock yourself down to one person. Go date many people. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I've never been a dater. So I tried. I had a couple of friends, but it just didn't feel right. I am a relationship woman. Okay. So I had friends, and they weren't what I wanted. Got rid of them. Went on all the different dating sites, plenty of guppies, and just meeting people that just weren't ready to be in a relationship. Just, I feel like I was just settling. It's like, oh, just to be with someone. And it was like, this is just not for me. So dating is one of the things that I'm on that path right now, trying to date, which is very hard. That's in the acceptance stage, right? I've accepted that I lost Matthew and I'm moving on. I'm ready for marriage. I'm ready for a new partner. It's not easy. And it's not because I'm trying to replace Matthew. It's not what I'm doing. I believe in the beginning, when I was out there dating, I was looking for Matthew, but not Matthew, if that makes sense. Looking more for the qualities, because when you have a partner that treats you a certain way, you're not going to go back to foolishness, right? So that's more so what I was looking for. And still looking for someone that's going to treat me like a queen, like he treated me. So we are at 18 years. And so, like I said, I didn't have closure. So for me, what does closure mean for me? Uh, in any perfect world, it would have been being able to say my goodbyes, right? I think my closure is because I talk to Matthew every now and again, not as frequently as I used to. But in my spirit, I know that he wouldn't want me to have grieved this long, right? He wanted me to be happy, to move on. And so my closure is basically being able to celebrate him. That's what my closure is. Just celebrating him this month, remembering the good times. There's no tears. And that's how I know I'm at acceptance, to be honest with you. There's no tears. I can talk about him with no tears. Yesterday, I made a video, Thinking of You by Luther, which is my favorite artist. And I got a little teary eyed, but that's huge for me because normally when the tears come, the tears come, you know, but not this day. I'm good. I really am good. I smile when I think of him. I smile when I hear Our Wedding Song by Brian McKnight. The month of May was never a good month for me, but I'm just like, okay, today's 18 years. Wednesdays is his birthday. I'm good. I am truly good. And so with me starting this podcast, I believe it's my therapy, right? I'm not in therapy with Grief Share anymore, but speaking on what I went through, helping people that are in the early stages of grief. And I've recently met a couple of women that are in the early stages of losing their spouse. Being able to sit with them, let them speak on, what happened in their relationship, losing their spouse, um, just sharing stories on how I coped. That is therapy for me. That warms my heart. So I believe that on this platform, that's what God wanted me to do. He wanted me to speak on it, to help the next person. Even if it's just one person that I'm helping, it's good for me. Now, on my platform, I know you guys see my dancing videos. That is another form of therapy, right? Who would have thought that I would be out to millions of people on the platform dancing with no care in the world? You hear me? When I start dancing, it's like I'm in another orbit. I am just in my own little zone. And I've been doing it for a year now. And the connections that I have made, that's why I can't stop. My video lands on someone's page that may be having a bad day, and they put comments about, oh my God, we've been waiting for your video, or your video really makes me smile, or I was having a bad day and you came on and I'm dancing in my seat. That warms my heart, because I'm in a transformation era, right? I was in isolation for a while. In my isolation period, not for grief, or I shouldn't say for the grief of Matthew, I actually was grieving the loss of a 38-year friendship and some other friends that I thought were my friends that I had to walk away from. So that was another form of grief that I was dealing with recently. And so I just kind of closed off and just started working and just asking God, like, what, just keep my mind busy, right? And then that's how this platform came about with the YouTube dancing, which takes me to a whole different place. Doing makeup videos, because I have people asking me all the time, who does your makeup? How do you do your makeup? I just love helping others, right? But I don't always get that in return. Everybody is not willing to share information or help others. That's not my story. So I'll help any way that I possibly can. So getting on YouTube was a struggle at first because I didn't have any support. I didn't have any help. I had no idea what I was doing. But God directed my path. And I'm 1,000% sure it was Him. You hear me? Because the first 6 months, I think I had 2 subscribers. And today I'm over 700 subscribers, because I have been coming on this platform. I have been consistent, and I give it all to Him, and I'm going to keep showing up, right? And so the podcast is just another avenue that I'm leaning towards now to help others any way that I possibly can. So for anyone that is dealing with grief now, it gets better. I highly recommend therapy, hands down. whether it's individual therapy or grief share, which is really great because grief share has other people that are dealing with grief for different reasons. So you'll be able to get other people's perspective. I highly recommend that. In your time, everybody is not ready to share right off the bat. It's your time. When you're ready to share, when you're comfortable, don't ever let anybody push you to do something you're not ready to do. Don't ever let someone tell you it's time for you to move on. That's the worst thing you can tell anybody because there's no rule book for this. Everybody grieves differently. Everybody has their own timeline. And it's very offensive. And I've had someone tell me it's very offensive to tell someone to move on. You know, the best thing you can do for someone that is grieving is just be there. Just listen. Don't make them feel like you don't want to hear what they're saying. You know, because I don't want anyone to ever have to grieve alone. That is the loneliest thing ever. And I did it for 14 years. Because everybody just don't understand how to help you. So it's not like nobody wanted to help. I didn't know how to tell them to help me. And I was grieving and had anger and resentment and all those different elements too. Everybody doesn't grieve that way or be mean because I know I was mean. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And I had trust issues and I still have trust issues. I'm better now. I'm slowly trusting people. I'm not all the way there, but I'm better than where I used to be to let people in. You know, you got to show me that you really care about me for me to let you in. Um, so yeah, just give people that are going through grief grace. Just give them grace. So I'm going to end this because I can go on and on and on talking about Matthew and talking about grief. And that's why I feel like me birthing the platform Grieve, Grow, and Glow will allow me to speak on anything, anything that I've dealt with. That way it will help the next person. So I just want you guys to know that I am appreciative of you guys watching my videos. I know that it's a much needed platform. Just to have one person view my video is enough. But I'm noticing the spike in my videos because the videos really don't get a lot of eyes on it like the dancing does. Y'all love them dancing videos. And I'm noticing when I'm starting to talk about the grief, the videos are like 50 views, 100 views. Like people are really interested in what I have to say. And I want to help in any way that I can. I don't know what you guys want to hear here on the platform unless you tell me. You know, comment on the videos. You can send me a direct message. Anything that you want me to discuss more on the channel, and I'm open to do that. I want to bring people on the channel to discuss what they've been through, share their experience. You know, we can talk about it together. Um, and just be there for each other and get through. Because grief is never going to go away. It's always going to be a part of your life. Point blank, period. It's something that's going to happen to others that haven't even experienced grief. And I just want you guys to know, if you've never experienced grief in that capacity, just be respectful of people that are grieving. Because you would never want someone to treat you the way you treat them if you lose someone that's close to you. I'm going to tell you, that pain is like no other. So just give people grace when it comes to that. Okay? So that's all I wanted to share today. I wanted, like I said, this is a celebration of his life. Um, I didn't get his food. His favorite food was salmon croquettes with rice and sweet peas. Matthew didn't know how to cook, but he knew how to cook that. All right, and so that would be my dish I would make on his birthday, actually, which is Wednesday. But I can't have carbs right now. You know, my trainer said no carbs, so I'm gonna wait probably a week or two, and then I'm gonna have that meal. It's just to feel. I just feel close to him when I do have his favorite meal. So we will have that. But find something that is happy to remember your loved one. Right? It doesn't always have to be a sad time. You know, I was speaking to a friend of mine who used to have coffee with her dad all the time, right? And that's having her coffee makes her feel close to her dad. So find something that you remember that reminds you of your loved one. And that's how you can celebrate them. Doesn't always have to be in tears. Okay? So you guys have an amazing Memorial Day. It's 7:35, so Memorial Day is over. Back to work tomorrow. But I'm on vacation, so I got one more day home, so loving it. So you guys have a great day, and remember, there's 4 episodes on the channel. Go back, listen to them, comment, give me your opinions, any suggestions on topics to talk about, and the next video will drop next Sunday. Sunday seems to work for me. So next Sunday, you guys will get another video. All right. So you guys have an amazing night. It's your girl, Sherry. Deuces. Close this thing.